I'm from a long line of troublemakers, of ash-skinned Africans born with clenched fists and a natural thirst for battle only quenched by breast milk. They'd suckle as if the white silk sliding between gums were liquid peace treaties written from mums. Their small thumbs would dimple the soft mounds of brown flesh, goose-pimpling chests till the ceasefire of sleep would creep into eyes they'd keep till the moon set, then wake twice hungry, twice vexed, raring to go. My grandfather, 6 years old, tough and scatterbrained, as all boys would be, once in a gathering of tribes, crawled under tables, past the feet of tribal chiefs, surfaced by the serving dishes, cupped his hands together, began shoveling the special treat of fried moose meat into his mouth. When the cry of "Thief, oh, thief" rang out, he turned, wondering who had such audacity to find an angry line of village cooks coming his way. With his face still stained with the spiced juice of diced moose, he grabbed another handful and fled into the dark woods, chased by siblings, pets, and abuse. They say he ran so fast, the ground gasped and forgot to take footprints. They lost him in the fields, but the story never left memory, was told around campfires and followed his son, my father, to secondary school, where the campus-wide trend for long nicknames was maximized by senior boy who thumbed through a textbook's index, added Periplaneta Americana. The most elaborate you could find to Nevada, his old title and swagger through the halls, slapping younger boys from mispronouncing his name. Once from a crowd gathered at lunch, Periplaneta Americana Nevada struck 6 boys till father, rebelling against seniority, revealed the title was Latin for desert cockroach. The crowd laughed as the Vada chased father, who tripped him through a thorn bush. And the long line of troublemakers meets me, inheritor of fast feet and father's contempt for authority, who try, as I might, to break the lines, have battled adults, been chased through schools, and have climbed out more windows than burglars do. I wonder when these stories will reach my sons, and wonder more what they will do. Thank you. I primarily write poetry, and one of my first and earliest inspirations was a guy called John Keats, who came up with the notion of negative capability, which more or less means it's okay not to know anything, just write about it well. That's it. I was born in Nigeria in 1984 to a Muslim father and a Christian mother. So right when I was born, religion took on a different meaning, and I saw more similarities than I saw differences. I was born on the 23rd of October, which means that I'm a cusper, and I'm part Libra, I'm part Scorpio. I left Nigeria, came to England, lived there for 3 years, moved to Dublin, and lived there for 3 years and returned. So my identity is sort of a little bit Irish, a little bit Nigerian, a little bit British, a little bit Muslim, a little bit Christian, a little bit Libra, a little bit Scorpio. And I was born with a twin sister. So before I was conscious that I existed, one could say I was close to feminine energy. So I do not consider myself in any way, shape, or form a typical man. I don't think typical men exist necessarily. When I was a kid, I had 3 sisters in total, and what it meant to be a good brother was to play with my sisters. And because there was more of them than I just did what they did, which meant lots of playing with dolls, lots of sewing dresses, lots of sewing Barbie doll dresses. I made Barbie like the sexiest red evening gown. Right, it had a slit coming all the way up the thigh. It was bad. It was gorgeous. Yeah, so one of the things I write about a lot at the moment is masculinity and questioning what it means to be a man. I wrote a play called Barbershop Chronicles, entirely about this, where I traveled to South Africa, Zimbabwe, Kenya, Uganda, Nigeria, and Ghana, and here in London. I spent time in barbershops just talking to men about what they thought it meant to be men. And I'm going to end with a poem also questioning masculinity. This is called Macaulay, My Nephew, and Me. Aged 6, I watched Macaulay Culkin defying 2 thieves at home alone and stop holding my father's hand, grab the neighbor's bike, circled the compound for 2 noons, staggering, scraped, bruised, bleeding pride. I teach myself to ride into a new profession, assassin. Armed with drive-by kicks, I attack smaller kids who pass on tricycles, till the giant 5-year-old flatters me with lesson 1, pick your battles. 2, careful who you trust. It's Thursday, but the traffic is lazy as Sundays. Remy and I, trapped in mischief's hot grip, catapult paper pellet at passing cars. Remy's shot scores the driver whose right cheek splits. Break scream, anger at he stands in front of me, fist swings, and Remy is nowhere to be seen. The blood I spit blocks and rust trust for years. Till Christine, who hugs mahogany, whose laugh is like a prophet, whose lips I'd wrestle worlds for yet, whose lashes melt my fists, demonstrates lesson 3. Vulnerability is power, weakness is strength. And when Ansel finds me, arrives fist clenched, foregoing 40, questions when he'll be a man. I don't recount the time I met an ex-child soldier who, crazed with gunpowder, sniffed with cocaine, once raised towns and skinned captives for kicks. This becomes my list as lesson 4. Without emotions, men turn beasts. Aged 4 persists when he'll be a man. I just described Macaulay, the 5-year-old stand and say, we are made from the lessons we learn. They happen as you grow. There's no lone time when, like a light switch, your backbone clicks. I tell him, ask me where your fists feel old. I'll be 60-something. He'll have stories whose morals mirror my own. They'll bite gorgeous, be bittersweet to speak. We'll talk the moon down till dew drowns our thirst. I'll ask him to speak first. Thank you.